Question 1. Which of the following is NOT a key principle in personal lines insurance underwriting? A. Risk management process. B. Principle of indemnity. C. Principle of utmost good faith. D. Principle of exclusion. Correct answer. D. Principle of exclusion. Explanation. The key principles in personal lines insurance underwriting include the risk management process, principle of indemnity, and principle of utmost good faith. The principle of exclusion, however, is not a fundamental principle in underwriting. It refers more to specific exclusions in policy coverage rather than an underwriting principle. Question 2, Scenario MS. Anderson lives in Michigan and has a personal auto policy PAP that includes comprehensive coverage. She recently experienced a vandalism incident where her car was scratched. How will her PAP handle this situation? A. The policy will cover the damage under comprehensive coverage with no deductible. B. The policy will not cover the damage as it only covers collision losses. C. The policy will cover the damage under comprehensive coverage, but a deductible will apply. D. The policy will require MS. Anderson to file a claim with her homeowner's insurance instead. Correct answer. C. The policy will cover the damage under comprehensive coverage, but a deductible will apply. Explanation. In Michigan, a personal auto policy PAP with comprehensive coverage will cover damages due to vandalism such as scratches under the comprehensive part of the policy. A deductible typically applies to comprehensive claims. Coverage does not extend to collision losses. B. Or homeowner's insurance. D. And comprehensive coverage does not exclude vandalism. Correct answer. B. Loss of use coverage. Explanation. Loss of use coverage, also known as additional living expenses under a homeowner's insurance policy, is designed to cover the cost of temporary living expenses if the insured home becomes uninhabitable due to a covered peril. Dwelling coverage. A. Protects the structure of the home. Personal liability coverage. C. Covers liability for injuries or damage to others and medical payments to others coverage. D. Provides medical payments for others injured on the property. Correct answer. B. Loss of use coverage. Explanation. Loss of use coverage, also known as additional living expenses under a homeowner's insurance policy, is designed to cover the cost of temporary living expenses if the insured home becomes uninhabitable due to a covered peril. Dwelling coverage. A. Protects the structure of the home. Personal liability coverage. C. Covers liability for injuries or damage to others and medical payments to others coverage. D. Provides medical payments for others injured on the property. Question 4. In a standard homeowner's insurance policy, which of the following perils is NOT typically covered under the standard HO3 policy form? A. Fire and smoke damage. B. Theft of personal property. C. Flood damage. D. Vandalism or malicious mischief. Correct answer. C. Flood damage. Explanation. The HO3 policy form is one of the most common types of homeowners insurance, providing broad coverage for the dwelling and personal property. It covers perils like fire, smoke damage, theft, vandalism, and malicious mischief. However, flood damage is not covered under a standard HO3 policy. Flood insurance is usually purchased separately through the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) or a private flood insurance policy. Thus, option C is correct, as it is the peril not covered by the standard HO3 policy. Question 5. Scenario. MS. Johnson, a resident of Michigan, is reviewing her personal auto policy PAP and is confused about the uninsured motorist coverage. What does this coverage typically provide? A. Coverage for damage to her vehicle if she is involved in an accident with an uninsured driver. B. Coverage for her medical expenses if she is injured in an accident with an uninsured driver. C. Coverage for damage to her vehicle if the accident is caused by a hit-and-run driver. D. Coverage for her vehicle while it is being driven by someone who is not listed on the policy. Correct answer. B. Coverage for her medical expenses if she is injured in an accident with an uninsured driver. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage under a personal auto policy PAP provides coverage for medical expenses and other damages if the insured is injured in an accident caused by an uninsured driver. This coverage helps protect the insured from financial loss when the at-fault party lacks adequate insurance. It does not cover damage to the insured's vehicle A or hit-and-run situations C, and it does not extend to drivers not listed on the policy D. Question 6. Which of the following statements accurately describes the purpose of a personal liability insurance policy in a homeowner's insurance policy? A. It provides coverage for the insured's personal property against loss or damage. B. It covers the insured's liability for injuries or damage caused to other people or their property. C. It offers coverage for damages to the insured's dwelling from perils like fire and wind. D. It provides compensation for additional living expenses if the insured's home is uninhabitable due to a covered loss. Correct answer. B. It covers the insured's liability for injuries or damage caused to other people or their property. Explanation. Personal liability insurance within a homeowner's policy covers the insured's legal liability for injuries or damages they cause to others or their property. This includes incidents that occur on the insured's property or as a result of their actions away from the property. Options A, C, and D describe other coverages within a homeowner's policy, such as property coverage and additional living expenses, but do not address the liability aspect, which is central to personal liability insurance. Question 7. Which of the following types of property is most likely covered under a personal articles floater in Michigan? A. A household appliance like a washing machine. B. A collection of rare coins valued at $10,000. C. A standard home heating system. D. A vehicle used primarily for personal transportation. Correct answer. B. A collection of rare coins valued at $10,000. Explanation. A personal articles floater provides coverage for high-value items that are not adequately covered under a standard homeowner's policy. This type of policy is ideal for valuable personal property such as jewelry, fine art, and rare collectibles. In this case, a collection of rare coins would be covered under a personal articles floater due to its high value. Options A, C, and D represent items typically covered under standard homeowners insurance or auto policies, rather than specialized floaters. Question 8. In Michigan, a personal umbrella policy (PUP) typically provides coverage for which of the following scenarios? A. A car accident where the insured driver is found to be at fault and the damages exceed the limits of the auto liability coverage. B. Damage to the insured's home caused by a tornado. C. The cost of repairs for an uninsured watercraft. D. Medical expenses for a visitor injured on the insured's property if the homeowner's liability limits are exhausted. Correct answer A. A car accident where the insured driver is found to be at fault and the damages exceed the limits of the auto liability coverage. Explanation. A personal umbrella policy is designed to provide excess liability coverage above the limits of underlying policies, such as auto and homeowners insurance. It offers additional protection when the damages exceed the limits of these primary policies. This policy would cover the costs in a situation where auto liability limits are exceeded. Option A. Options B and C involve different types of coverage, homeowners and watercraft insurance respectively, and option D pertains to liability coverage under a homeowner's policy rather than an umbrella policy. Question 9. MS. Ramirez owns a small business in Michigan and recently purchased a personal property floater to cover her valuable business equipment. During a severe storm, her business property was damaged, and after filing a claim, she discovers that the claim amount exceeds the policy limit for property damage. What should MS. Ramirez do to ensure her property is adequately covered in the future? A. Accept the settlement amount and adjust her business operations to accommodate the loss. B. Increase her personal property floater coverage limit or purchase additional coverage to better align with her business needs. C. File a complaint with the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services for a higher settlement amount. D. Seek coverage from a different insurance company without making changes to her current policy. Correct answer. B. Increase her personal property floater coverage limit or purchase additional coverage to better align with her business needs. Explanation. If MS. Ramirez's claim amount exceeds her policy limit, she should consider increasing her coverage limit or purchasing additional coverage to ensure that her business property is adequately protected in the future. This approach will help align her insurance coverage with the value of her assets. Options A and C do not address the issue of insufficient coverage, and option D does not resolve the issue unless a new policy is specifically tailored to meet her coverage needs. Question 10. In Michigan, which of the following is a typical exclusion under a standard homeowners insurance policy HO3? A. Damage caused by a sudden and accidental discharge of water from a plumbing system. B. Losses resulting from neglect or failure to properly maintain the property. C. Theft of personal property from within the insured dwelling. D. Fire damage caused by a lightning strike. Question 10. In Michigan, which of the following is a typical exclusion under a standard homeowners insurance policy HO3? A. Damage caused by a sudden and accidental discharge of water from a plumbing system. B. Losses resulting from neglect or failure to properly maintain the property. C. Theft of personal property from within the insured dwelling. D. Fire damage caused by a lightning strike. Question 11. Which of the following scenarios is most likely to be covered under personal auto policy PAP? In Michigan, A. Damage to the insured vehicle due to wear and tear over time. B. An accident caused by the insured while driving a rental car on vacation. C. Mechanical breakdown of the insured vehicle's engine. D. Damage caused by an intentional act of the insured. Correct answer. B. An accident caused by the insured while driving a rental car on vacation. Explanation. A personal auto policy PAP typically extends coverage to the insured while operating a rental car, subject to the terms and conditions of the policy. This extension of coverage is beneficial for insureds who rent vehicles. Options A, C, and D are not covered under a standard PAP. Wear and tear and mechanical breakdowns are maintenance issues, and intentional acts are typically excluded from coverage. Question 12. Mr. Anderson of Michigan, resident, has a homeowner's insurance policy with a standard liability coverage limit. During a family gathering, a guest trips on a loose carpet and sustains injuries. The guest's medical expenses exceed Mr. Anderson's policy limit. What should Mr. Anderson have considered to prevent out-of-pocket expenses? A. Increasing his personal property coverage limit. B. Purchasing an additional homeowner's policy with a different insurer. C. Adding a personal umbrella policy to provide excess liability coverage. D. Reducing the number of guests allowed at his home. Correct answer. C. Adding a personal umbrella policy to provide excess liability coverage. Explanation. A personal umbrella policy (PUP) provides excess liability coverage beyond the limits of an underlying homeowner's policy. This type of policy would help cover the medical expenses exceeding Mr. Anderson's liability coverage limit. Options A and B do not address the need for additional liability coverage, and option D is impractical and does not provide a solution for liability coverage. Question 13. In Michigan, which of the following would be excluded from coverage under a standard personal auto policy PAP? A. Damage caused by a collision with another vehicle. B. Theft of the insured vehicle. C. Damage to the insured vehicle while being used as a taxi. D. Medical expenses for injuries sustained by the insured driver in an accident. Correct answer. C. Damage to the insured vehicle while being used as a taxi. Explanation. A standard personal auto policy PAP excludes coverage for vehicles used for commercial purposes, such as being used as a taxi or rideshare service. Coverage for such use requires a commercial auto policy. Options A, B, and D are covered under a standard PAP. Collision coverage, comprehensive coverage for theft, and medical payments coverage for injuries to the insured driver. Question 14. Which of the following is an endorsement that can be added to a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan to provide additional coverage for high-value items? A. Guaranteed replacement cost endorsement. B. Scheduled personal property endorsement. C. Ordinance or law endorsement. D. Loss of use endorsement. Correct answer. B. Scheduled personal property endorsement. Explanation. A scheduled personal property endorsement provides additional coverage for high-value items that are not adequately covered under a standard homeowner's policy. This endorsement allows the policyholder to specifically list and insure valuable items such as jewelry, art, or collectibles. Options A, C, and D pertain to other types of coverage: guaranteed replacement cost for rebuilding, ordinance or law for compliance with local building codes, and loss of use for additional living expenses during repairs. Question 15. Mr. Patel, a Michigan resident, has a personal umbrella policy (PUP) with a self-insured retention cert of $1,000. If he is found liable for a $50,000 personal injury claim and his underlying homeowner's policy has a limit of $25,000, how much will Mr. Patel have to pay out of pocket before the PUP coverage kicks in? A. $1,000. B. $25,000. C. $26,000. D. $50,000. Correct answer A. $1,000. Explanation: the self-insured retention, sir, is the amount the insured must pay out of pocket before the umbrella policy coverage begins. In this case, Mr. Patel must pay $1,000 out of pocket as the SIR. The underlying homeowner's policy will cover $25,000 and the remaining $24,000 will be covered by the PUP. The total out-of-pocket expense for Mr. Patel will be the SIR amount. Question 16. Which of the following scenarios is typically excluded under a standard flood insurance policy in Michigan? A. Damage to a home caused by rising flood waters. B. Damage to personal property stored in the basement. C. Structural damage to a home resulting from flood-related erosion. D. Loss of use or additional living expenses due to a flood. Correct answer: D. Loss of use or additional living expenses due to a flood. Explanation: standard flood insurance policies, such as those provided by the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP), typically exclude coverage for loss of use or additional living expenses incurred due to a flood. These policies focus on direct physical damage to the structure and contents. Options A, B, and C involve direct damage caused by flooding, which is covered by the policy, though coverage for personal property and basements may be limited. Question 17. In Michigan, which of the following is covered under a standard personal auto policy PAP when the insured's car is stolen and recovered with significant damage? A. Replacement cost of the stolen vehicle. B. The cost of a rental car while the insured's vehicle is being repaired. C. Depreciation of the vehicle's value due to the theft. D. Personal items stolen from within the vehicle. Correct answer: B. The cost of a rental car while the insured's vehicle is being repaired. Explanation: a standard personal auto policy PAP often includes rental reimbursement coverage, which pays for the cost of a rental car while the insured's stolen vehicle is being repaired. Comprehensive coverage under the PAP will cover the repairs to the stolen vehicle, but it does not cover the replacement cost of the vehicle, depreciation, or personal items stolen from within the vehicle. Question 18. Ms. Thompson, a Michigan resident, has a homeowner's insurance policy that includes coverage E. Personal liability. While hosting a barbecue, a guest slips and falls on her patio, incurring $15,000 in medical expenses. If Ms. Thompson's liability limit is $300,000, how much will her insurance cover for the guest's medical expenses? A. $0. B. $15,000. C. $285,000. D. $300,000. Correct answer: B. $15,000. Explanation: coverage E. Personal liability under homeowner's insurance policy covers bodily injury claims made against the insured. In this scenario, the guest's medical expenses of $15,000 will be covered up to the policy limit of $300,000. Since the expenses do not exceed the liability limit, the insurance will cover the full amount of the medical expenses. Question 19. In Michigan, which of the following perils is typically excluded under a standard homeowner's insurance policy? A. Fire damage caused by an electrical fault. B. Wind damage from a severe storm. C. Water damage from a burst pipe. D. Earthquake damage. Correct answer: D. Earthquake damage. Explanation: standard homeowners insurance policies typically exclude coverage for earthquake damage. Coverage for earthquakes must be purchased as a separate endorsement or policy. Options A, B and C are common perils covered by a standard homeowner's insurance policy, including fire, windstorm, and water damage from burst pipes. Question 20. Which of the following is a primary benefit of adding an ordinance or law endorsement to a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan? A. Increases the coverage limit for personal property. B. It covers the cost of bringing a damaged home up to current building codes. C. It provides additional liability coverage. D. It reduces the deductible for all covered losses. Correct answer. B. It covers the cost of bringing a damaged home up to current building codes. Explanation. An ordinance or law endorsement provides coverage for the increased costs associated with bringing a damaged home up to current building codes during repairs or rebuilding. This endorsement is beneficial when local building codes have changed since the home was originally built. Options A, C, and D relate to other types of coverage and do not address the specific benefit of this endorsement. Question 21. Mr. Johnson, a Michigan resident, has a personal auto policy with uninsured motorist coverage. If Mr. Johnson is involved in an accident with an at-fault driver who does not have insurance, which of the following damages will his uninsured motorist coverage pay for? A. Damage to Mr. Johnson's vehicle. B. Mr. Johnson's medical expenses due to injuries from the accident. C. The at-fault driver's vehicle repair costs. D. Rental car expenses for the at-fault driver. Correct answer. B. Mr. Johnson's medical expenses due to injuries from the accident. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage in a personal auto policy is designed to cover the insured's medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering due to injuries sustained in an accident with an at-fault uninsured driver. This coverage does not extend to vehicle damage, which would be covered under collision coverage, or expenses related to the at-fault driver. Option A is incorrect as it relates to vehicle damage, and options C and D involve expenses for the at-fault driver. Question 22. Which of the following is considered an additional coverage under a standard homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan? A. Coverage for damage caused by intentional acts. B. Coverage for debris removal after a covered loss. C. Coverage for losses due to war. D. Coverage for flood damage. Correct answer. B. Coverage for debris removal after a covered loss. Explanation. Standard homeowners insurance policies typically include additional coverage for debris removal following a covered loss, such as a fire or storm. This coverage helps to remove debris from the insured property. Options A, C, and D are generally excluded from standard homeowners policies. Intentional acts and war are specific exclusions, and flood damage requires separate flood insurance. Correct answer A. $48,000. Explanation. The personal umbrella policy, PUP, provides excess liability coverage above the limits of the underlying policies, in this case MS. Green's underlying auto policy covers $50,000. The remaining $50,000 will be considered by the PUP, but she must first pay the $2,000 self-insured retention, sir. Therefore, the PUP will cover the remaining $48,000 of the liability claim. Correct answer A. $48,000. Explanation. The personal umbrella policy, PUP, provides excess liability coverage above the limits of the underlying policies, in this case MS. Green's underlying auto policy covers $50,000. The remaining $50,000 will be considered by the PUP, but she must first pay the $2,000 self-insured retention, sir. Therefore, the PUP will cover the remaining $48,000 of the liability claim. Question 24. In Michigan, which of the following is a typical exclusion under a standard personal auto policy PAP for physical damage coverage? A. Damage caused by a collision with another vehicle. B. Theft of the insured vehicle. C. Damage due to mechanical breakdown. D. Damage from hail. Correct answer. C. Damage due to mechanical breakdown. Explanation. A standard personal auto policy PAP excludes coverage for damage due to mechanical breakdown, as this is considered a maintenance issue rather than an insurable event. Coverage for collision, theft, and hail damage is typically included under a PAP's physical damage section, which consists of comprehensive and collision coverages. Question 25. Which of the following is a key feature of a personal umbrella policy (PUP) in Michigan? A. Provides primary coverage for personal liability. B. It offers coverage for flood damage. C. It provides excess liability coverage above the limits of underlying policies. D. It replaces the need for a homeowner's or auto policy. Correct answer. C. It provides excess liability coverage above the limits of underlying policies. Explanation: a personal umbrella policy (PUP) offers additional liability coverage beyond the limits of an insured's underlying policies, such as homeowners or auto policies. This type of policy kicks in when the liability limits of the underlying policies are exhausted. Options A, B, and D are incorrect. A PUP does not provide primary coverage, does not cover flood damage, and does not replace the need for underlying homeowners or auto policies. Question 26. Mr. Lee, a Michigan resident, has a standard homeowners insurance policy with a coverage C limit for personal property of $100,000. During a burglary, $20,000 worth of jewelry is stolen. His policy has a special limit of liability for jewelry theft of $5,000. How much will his policy pay for the stolen jewelry? A. $0. B. $5,000. C. $20,000. D. $15,000. Correct answer: B. $5,000. Explanation: standard homeowners insurance policies often have special limits of liability for certain types of personal property, such as jewelry, in cases of theft. In this scenario, even though Mr. Lee's total personal property limit is $100,000, the policy only covers up to $5,000 for jewelry theft. Thus, the policy will pay $5,000 for the stolen jewelry. Question 27. In Michigan, what is the primary purpose of uninsured motorist coverage in a personal auto policy (PAP)? A. To cover the cost of repairs to the insured's vehicle after an accident with an uninsured driver. B. To pay for medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering resulting from an accident caused by an uninsured driver. C. To provide liability coverage for the insured driver when at fault. D. To pay for rental car expenses while the insured vehicle is being repaired. Correct answer: B. To pay for medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering resulting from an accident caused by an uninsured driver. Explanation: uninsured motorist coverage is designed to protect the insured by paying for medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering if they are injured in an accident caused by an uninsured driver. This coverage does not pay for vehicle repairs covered by collision insurance, provide liability coverage for the insured driver, or cover rental car expenses. Question 28. Which of the following statements about Michigan's personal auto policy (PAP) is correct regarding medical payments coverage? Part B. A. It covers medical expenses for the insured regardless of fault in the accident. B. It covers only the medical expenses of passengers in the other vehicle. C. It excludes medical expenses if the insured is at fault in the accident. D. It provides unlimited coverage for medical expenses. Correct answer: A. Covers medical expenses for the insured regardless of fault in the accident. Explanation: medical payments coverage Part B under personal auto policy (PAP) covers medical expenses for the insured and their passengers regardless of who is at fault in the accident. This coverage is designed to provide immediate medical payment without waiting for liability determinations. Option B is incorrect because it only covers the insured and their passengers. Option C is incorrect because it covers medical expenses regardless of fault. Option D is incorrect as the coverage is subject to policy limits. Question 29. In Michigan, which of the following is a requirement for an individual to have an insurable interest in a property for it to be covered under a homeowner's insurance policy? A. The individual must reside in the property. B. The individual must have a legal or financial stake in the property. C. The individual must own the property outright. D. The individual must have previously insured the property. Correct answer: B. The individual must have a legal or financial stake in the property. Explanation: an insurable interest exists when an individual has a legal or financial stake in a property. This interest ensures that the person will suffer financial loss if the property is damaged or destroyed. Options A, C, and D are incorrect as residence, outright ownership, or previous insurance is not required if the key factor is having a financial or legal interest in the property. Question 30. Mr. Thompson, a Michigan resident, has a homeowner's insurance policy with a coverage E, personal liability, limit of $300,000. If a neighbor's child is injured on Mr. Thompson's property and incurs $50,000 in medical expenses, how much will his insurance policy pay for these expenses under coverage E? A. $0. B. $50,000. C. $250,000. D. $300,000. Correct answer: B. $50,000. Explanation: coverage E, personal liability under a homeowner's insurance policy covers bodily injury and property damage claims against the insured up to the policy limit. In this case, the neighbor's child's medical expenses of $50,000 will be covered, as it is, within the policy's $300,000 limit. This coverage is designed to protect the insured from financial loss due to liability claims. Question 31. Which of the following types of damage is generally covered under a standard dwelling policy DEPA 3 in Michigan? A. Damage from earthquakes. B. Damage from nuclear accidents. C. Damage from vandalism and malicious mischief. D. Damage from intentional acts by the insured. Correct answer: C. Damage from vandalism and malicious mischief. Explanation: a standard dwelling policy DEPA 3, also known as an open peril policy, provides coverage for damage to the dwelling from a wide range of perils, including vandalism and malicious mischief. Earthquake and nuclear accidents are typically excluded from coverage, and damage resulting from intentional acts by the insured is also excluded. Question 32. Which of the following is NOT typically covered under a standard flood insurance policy in Michigan? A. Damage to the insured's personal property. B. Increased cost of compliance with building codes. C. Damage to landscaping and fences. D. Damage to the insured's home structure. Correct answer: C. Damage to landscaping and fences. Explanation: standard flood insurance policies generally cover damage to the insured's home structure and personal property, as well as the increased cost of compliance with building codes. However, damage to landscaping, fences, and similar items is typically excluded from coverage under these policies. Question 33. Which endorsement would you add to a personal auto policy PAP in Michigan to increase coverage for a high-value vehicle? A. Comprehensive coverage endorsement. B. Collision coverage endorsement. C. Special vehicle endorsement. D. Rental reimbursement endorsement. Correct answer: C. Special vehicle endorsement. Explanation: a special vehicle endorsement is used to provide additional coverage for high-value vehicles which may not be fully covered under standard comprehensive or collision coverage. This endorsement helps ensure that the policy meets the value of the vehicle and provides adequate protection. Options A and B are standard coverages, and D is related to rental car expenses, not the value of the vehicle. Question 34. Under a standard personal auto policy PAP in Michigan, which of the following is covered by collision coverage? A. Theft of the vehicle. B. Damage from a storm or hail. C. Damage to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle. D. Damage to the insured's vehicle caused by vandalism. Correct answer: C. Damage to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle. Explanation: collision coverage under a personal auto policy PAP covers damage to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle or object, regardless of fault. It does not cover theft, which is covered under comprehensive coverage, damage from storms or hail also under comprehensive coverage, or vandalism, which falls under comprehensive coverage. Question 35. What is the primary benefit of adding an inflation guard endorsement to a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan? A. It increases the coverage limit for personal liability. B. It adjusts the dwelling coverage limit to keep up with inflation. C. It provides coverage for additional living expenses during home repairs. D. It adds coverage for high-value personal items. Correct answer. B. It adjusts the dwelling coverage limit to keep up with inflation. Explanation. An inflation guard endorsement adjusts the dwelling coverage limit periodically to keep pace with inflation, ensuring that the coverage amount remains adequate to repair or rebuild the home at current construction costs. This endorsement does not affect liability limits, additional living expenses, or coverage for high-value personal items. Question 36. Which of the following is typically covered under a standard personal umbrella policy (PUP) in Michigan? A. Damage to the insured's home structure. B. Personal property damage due to a flood. C. Liability claims that exceed the limits of underlying policies. D. Vehicle repair costs after a collision. Correct answer. C. Liability claims that exceed the limits of underlying policies. Explanation. A personal umbrella policy (PUP) provides excess liability coverage over the limits of the insured's underlying policies, such as homeowners or auto policies. It does not cover damage to the insured's home, personal property damage from floods, or vehicle repair costs, which are covered under the respective auto policy. Question 37. In Michigan, which of the following coverages is typically included in a standard dwelling policy? D1. A. Coverage for damage due to weight of ice and snow. B. Coverage for theft of personal property. C. Coverage for damage caused by fire or lightning. D. Coverage for flood damage. Correct answer. C. Coverage for damage caused by fire or lightning. Explanation. A standard dwelling policy D1 typically provides basic coverage for perils, including fire and lightning, but it is a named peril policy, meaning it only covers the specific perils listed in the policy. It does not generally cover weight of ice and snow, theft of personal property, or flood damage, which would require additional endorsements of separate policies. Question 38. If Mr. Smith, a Michigan resident, has a homeowner's insurance policy with a $1,000 deductible and his home sustains $15,000 in covered damage, how much will his insurance policy pay for the damages? A. $14,000. B. $15,000. C. $16,000. D. $1,000. Correct answer A. $14,000. Explanation. In a homeowner's insurance policy, the deductible is the amount the insured must pay out of pocket before the insurance coverage kicks in. If Mr. Smith's deductible is $1,000 and the damage amounts to $15,000, his policy will cover the remaining amount after the deductible, which is $15,000. $1,000 equals $14,000. Question 39. Which of the following is a common exclusion under a standard flood insurance policy in Michigan? A. Damage to the insured's personal property. B. Increased cost of compliance with building codes. C. Damage to the foundation of the insured's home. D. Damage caused by landslides. Correct answer. D. Damage caused by landslides. Explanation. Standard flood insurance policies typically exclude coverage for damage caused by landslides which are not considered flood-related. The policy generally covers damage to the insured's home structure, personal property, and increased costs due to compliance with building codes. Question 40. Which type of endorsement is typically used to cover high-value items like antiques or fine art under a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan? A. Earthquake endorsement. B. Personal property floater. C. Watercraft endorsement. D. Ordinance or law endorsement. Correct answer. B. Personal property floater. Explanation. A personal property floater is used to provide additional coverage for high-value items such as antiques, fine art, and jewelry that may exceed the standard limits of a homeowner's insurance policy. Earthquake and watercraft endorsements cover different types of risks, and the ordinance or law endorsement deals with building code compliance rather than high-value personal property. Question 41. Under Michigan's personal auto policy PAP, which coverage would typically apply if the insured's vehicle is damaged by a falling tree branch? A. Liability coverage. B. Collision coverage. C. Comprehensive coverage. D. Medical payments coverage. Correct answer. C. Comprehensive coverage. Explanation. Comprehensive coverage under a personal auto policy PAP covers damage to the insured's vehicle from non-collision related events, such as damage from a falling tree branch. Liability coverage is for damage caused to others. Collision coverage is for damage from collisions, and medical payments coverage is for medical expenses. Question 42. What is the primary purpose of the additional living expense (AL) coverage in a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan? A. To cover medical expenses for injuries sustained on the insured property. B. To cover costs associated with temporary housing and living expenses while the home is being repaired. C. To provide extra coverage for high-value personal property. D. To cover repair costs for damages caused by vandalism. Correct answer. B. To cover costs associated with temporary housing and living expenses while the home is being repaired. Explanation. Additional living expense (AL) coverage is designed to help pay for temporary housing and additional living expenses if the insured home becomes uninhabitable due to a covered loss. It does not cover medical expenses, high-value personal property, or repair costs for vandalism, which would fall under other coverages. Question 43. In Michigan, which of the following is a primary feature of the personal auto policy PAP uninsured motorist coverage? A. It covers physical damage to the insured's vehicle caused by an uninsured driver. B. It covers medical expenses for injuries sustained by the insured and their passengers when the at-fault driver is uninsured. C. It covers the insured's liability for damages caused to an uninsured driver. D. It covers repair costs for the insured's vehicle after a hit-and-run accident. Correct answer. B. It covers medical expenses for injuries sustained by the insured and their passengers when the at-fault driver is uninsured. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage provides protection for medical expenses and other costs for the insured and their passengers when an accident is caused by an uninsured or underinsured driver. It does not cover vehicle repair costs, which are covered under collision coverage, or liability for damages to the uninsured driver. Question 44. Which of the following situations would likely require the purchase of a separate earthquake insurance policy in Michigan? A. Damage to a property caused by a severe thunderstorm. B. Damage to a home resulting from an earthquake. C. Damage from a burst water pipe in the home. D. Damage to personal property due to theft. Correct answer. B. Damage to a home resulting from an earthquake. Explanation. Earthquake insurance is necessary to cover damage resulting from an earthquake, as standard homeowners insurance policies generally do not cover earthquake damage. Damage from thunderstorms, burst pipes, and theft would be covered under other standard insurance policies or endorsements. Question 45. Mr. Johnson, a Michigan resident, has a homeowner's insurance policy with a $50,000 limit on coverage C, personal property. After a covered fire loss, he claims $60,000 for damaged personal property. How much will his policy pay for the loss, assuming no additional endorsements? A. $50,000. B. $60,000. C. $10,000. D. $0. Correct answer. A. $50,000. Explanation. Coverage C. Personal property under a homeowner's insurance policy has a limit of $50,000. The policy will pay up to the coverage limit for damages to personal property. Since Mr. Johnson's loss exceeds the coverage limit, the policy will only pay $50,000, the maximum amount covered. Question 46. Which type of endorsement would you use to provide additional coverage for rental income lost due to a covered loss under Dwelling Policy DP3 in Michigan? A. Equipment breakdown endorsement. B. Ordinance or law endorsement. C. Fair rental value endorsement. D. Personal liability endorsement. Correct answer. C. Fair rental value endorsement. Explanation. The fair rental value endorsement is used to cover lost rental income if the property becomes uninhabitable due to a covered loss. This endorsement compensates the property owner for lost rental income during the repair period. The equipment breakdown endorsement covers mechanical breakdowns. The ordinance or law endorsement covers compliance with building codes, and the personal liability endorsement provides additional liability coverage. Question 47. In Michigan, which of the following is a typical exclusion under standard homeowners insurance policy HO3? A. Damage caused by fire. B. Damage resulting from earthquakes. C. Damage from vandalism. D. Damage caused by a storm. Correct answer. B. Damage resulting from earthquakes. Explanation. A standard homeowners insurance policy HO3 typically excludes coverage for damage caused by earthquakes. Earthquake damage requires a separate earthquake insurance policy. Fire, vandalism, and storm damage are generally covered under the standard HO3 policy, subject to the policy terms and conditions. Question 48. Which of the following is NOT typically covered by a personal umbrella policy (PUP) in Michigan? A. Legal defense costs for liability claims. B. Claims related to defamation or libel. C. Damage to the insured's own property. D. Excess liability coverage above underlying policy limits. Correct answer. C. Damage to the insured's own property. Explanation. A personal umbrella policy (PUP) provides excess liability coverage above the limits of underlying policies and can cover legal defense costs and certain types of liability claims, such as defamation or libel. However, it does not cover damage to the insured's own property, as it is intended to provide additional liability coverage rather than property coverage. Question 49. In Michigan, under standard homeowners insurance policy HO3, which of the following is typically covered under coverage with dwelling coverage? A. Damage to personal belongings stored in a garage. B. Liability for injuries caused to others on the property. C. Structural damage to the home from a fire. D. Additional living expenses while the home is being repaired. Correct answer. C. Structural damage to the home from a fire. Explanation. Coverage, dwelling coverage in the standard homeowners insurance policy HO3 covers structural damage to the home itself due to covered perils such as fire. Personal belongings are covered under coverage C. Liability for injuries is covered under coverage E. And additional living expenses are covered under coverage D. Loss of use. Question 50. Which endorsement would you add to a personal auto policy PAP in Michigan to cover damages from hit-and-run accidents? A. Rental reimbursement endorsement. B. Uninsured motorist endorsement. C. Roadside assistance endorsement. D. Comprehensive coverage endorsement. Correct answer. B. Uninsured motorist endorsement. Explanation. The uninsured motorist endorsement covers damages and injuries resulting from a hit-and-run accident where the at-fault driver cannot be identified. It provides coverage for medical expenses and other damages when the responsible party is uninsured or cannot be found. Rental reimbursement covers rental car costs. Roadside assistance helps with breakdowns, and comprehensive coverage deals with non-collision related damages. Question 51. Mr. Lee's homeowner's insurance policy includes a $100,000 limit for coverage E. Personal liability. If Mr. Lee is sued for $120,000 due to an accident on his property, how much will his policy pay for the liability claim? A. $100,000. B. $120,000. C. $20,000. D. $0. Correct answer A. $100,000. Explanation. Coverage E. Personal liability under a homeowner's insurance policy has a specified limit, which in this case is $100,000. The policy will cover up to the limit of $100,000 for liability claims. The remaining $20,000 would be the responsibility of Mr. Lee, as the policy limit does not cover the entire claim amount. Question 52. Under Standard Dwelling Policy DEPA 2 in Michigan, which of the following perils is covered that is not covered under EON policy? A. Damage from falling objects. B. Damage from earthquakes. C. Damage from flood. D. Damage from wear and tear. Correct answer A. Damage from falling objects. Explanation: the dwelling policy DEPA 2, also known as the broad form, provides more extensive coverage than a D1 policy, including perils such as damage from falling objects. The DEPA 1 policy is more limited and typically does not cover this peril. Earthquake, flood, and wear and tear are not covered under either DEPA 1 or DEPA 2 policies and require additional coverage or endorsements. Question 53. Which of the following types of coverage is designed to protect personal property while it is temporarily away from the insured's home in Michigan? A. Dwelling coverage. B. Personal property floater. C. Loss of use coverage. D. Liability coverage. Correct answer B. Personal property floater. Explanation: a personal property floater provides coverage for personal property while it is temporarily away from the insured's home, such as when traveling. Dwelling coverage protects the structure of the home. Loss of use coverage provides for additional living expenses, and liability coverage is for legal liability for injuries or damages. Question 54. Which of the following is an example of an additional coverage typically provided under a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan? A. Coverage for damages caused by wear and tear. B. Coverage for accidental discharge of water from a plumbing system. C. Coverage for damage caused by pests. D. Coverage for damage to personal property caused by an earthquake. Correct answer B. Coverage for accidental discharge of water from a plumbing system. Explanation: homeowners insurance policies typically provide additional coverage for accidental discharge of water from plumbing systems, which is not usually covered under standard policies. Wear and tear, pest damage, and earthquake damage generally require additional endorsements or separate policies. Question 55. In Michigan, which of the following is a key benefit of having personal umbrella insurance? A. It provides coverage for the insured's home structure. B. It offers additional liability protection beyond the limits of existing policies. C. It covers personal property damage from fire. D. It pays for medical expenses related to auto accidents. Correct answer B. It offers additional liability protection beyond the limits of existing policies. Explanation: personal umbrella insurance provides additional liability protection beyond the limits of underlying policies like homeowners and auto insurance. It does not cover home structure, personal property damage from fire, or medical expenses related to auto accidents, which are covered by other types of insurance. Question 56. Which type of endorsement is commonly added to a dwelling policy to provide coverage for personal property at multiple locations? A. Flood endorsement. B. Scheduled personal property endorsement. C. Earthquake endorsement. D. Ordinance or law endorsement. Correct answer B. Scheduled personal property endorsement. Explanation: a scheduled personal property endorsement extends coverage for personal property to multiple locations and can be used to specifically list and insure high-value items. The flood endorsement and earthquake endorsement cover specific types of damage, and the ordinance or law endorsement covers costs related to compliance with building codes. Question 57. Mr. Adams has a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan with a $2,500 limit for coverage C, personal property. If he experiences a loss of $3,000 due to theft, how much will his policy cover? A. $2,500. B. $3,000. C. $500. D. $0. Correct answer A. $2,500. Explanation: coverage C, personal property, under a homeowner's insurance policy has a specified limit, which in this case is $2,500. The policy will cover up to this limit for losses due to theft. Mr. Adams will need to cover the remaining $500 out of pocket. Question 58. In Michigan, which endorsement would be most appropriate for a policyholder who wants to insure coverage for their watercraft on a standard homeowners insurance policy? A. Personal property floater. B. Watercraft endorsement. C. Umbrella endorsement. D. Equipment breakdown endorsement. Correct answer. B. Watercraft endorsement. Explanation. A watercraft endorsement provides coverage for watercraft such as boats under a standard homeowners insurance policy. The personal property floater covers high-value items and personal property away from the home. The umbrella endorsement offers additional liability coverage, and the equipment breakdown endorsement covers mechanical failures. Question 59. Which of the following is a standard exclusion in a flood insurance policy under the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) in Michigan? A. Damage from landslides. B. Damage from fire. C. Damage from theft. D. Damage from vandalism. Correct answer. A. Damage from landslides. Explanation. Flood insurance policies under the NFIP generally exclude damage from landslides. They typically cover flood-related damage to buildings and personal property but do not include coverage for fire, theft, or vandalism unless specifically included under separate endorsements or policies. Question 60. Which coverage under the personal auto policy PAP would help pay for medical bills incurred by the insured and their passengers after an auto accident in Michigan? A. Liability coverage. B. Collision coverage. C. Medical payments coverage. D. Uninsured motorist coverage. Correct answer. C. Medical payments coverage. Explanation. Medical payments coverage under a personal auto policy PAP helps cover medical bills for the insured and their passengers resulting from an auto accident. Liability coverage covers damages to others for which the insured is responsible. Collision coverage pays for damage to the insured's vehicle from a collision, and uninsured motorist coverage addresses damages when the at-fault driver is uninsured. Correct answer. B. To cover costs associated with compliance with current building codes following a covered loss. Explanation. The ordinance or law coverage endorsement provides additional coverage for the increased costs required to bring a damaged property up to current building codes or ordinances after a covered loss. It does not increase personal property limits, cover water damage, or provide liability protection, which are covered under other parts of the policy. Correct answer. B. To cover costs associated with compliance with current building codes following a covered loss. Explanation. The ordinance or law coverage endorsement provides additional coverage for the increased costs required to bring a damaged property up to current building codes or ordinances after a covered loss. It does not increase personal property limits, cover water damage, or provide liability protection, which are covered under other parts of the policy. Question 62. Which endorsement would you use in Michigan to extend coverage for valuable personal property such as jewelry or fine art under homeowners insurance policy? A. Personal articles floater. B. Watercraft endorsement. C. Additional living expense endorsement. D. Comprehensive endorsement. Correct answer. A. Personal articles floater. Explanation. A personal articles floater provides extended coverage for valuable personal property such as jewelry, fine art, and collectibles. The watercraft endorsement is for boats, additional living expense endorsement covers temporary housing costs, and comprehensive endorsement applies to non-collision related auto damages. Question 63. Mr. Roberts, a Michigan homeowner, has sustained $8,000 in damage to his personal property due to a covered loss. His homeowner's insurance policy has a $1,000 deductible and a $10,000 limit for coverage C. Personal property. How much will Mr. Roberts receive from his insurance company? A. $7,000. B. $8,000. C. $9,000. D. $10,000. Correct answer. A. $7,000. Explanation. To determine the amount Mr. Roberts will receive, subtract the deductible $1,000 from the total damage amount, $8,000. Thus, $8,000. $1,000 equals $7,000. The coverage C limit is not exceeded, so no adjustment is needed for the policy limit. Question 64. In Michigan, under which coverage part of a personal auto policy (PAP) would you find protection for damages to your vehicle caused by a collision with another vehicle? A. Liability coverage. B. Medical payments coverage. C. Collision coverage. D. Uninsured motorist coverage. Correct answer. C. Collision coverage. Explanation. Collision coverage under a personal auto policy (PAP) pays for damages to the insured's vehicle resulting from a collision with another vehicle or object. Liability coverage addresses damage to others. Medical payments coverage covers medical expenses for the insured and passengers, and uninsured motorist coverage applies when the at-fault driver is uninsured. Question 65. Which type of policy would provide coverage for a Michigan homeowner's secondary property, such as a vacation home or rental property? A. Dwelling policy DPA 2. B. Homeowners insurance policy HO 3. C. Personal umbrella policy. D. Personal property floater. Correct answer. A. Dwelling policy DPA 2. Explanation. A dwelling policy (DPA 2) is suitable for secondary properties like vacation homes or rental properties. A homeowner's insurance policy (HO 3) typically covers the primary residence. A personal umbrella policy provides additional liability coverage beyond existing policies, and a personal property floater covers valuable items, not entire properties. Question 66. If a Michigan homeowner experiences damage from a covered peril but has a homeowner's insurance policy with a $2,000 deductible and $50,000 coverage limit, and the damage amounts to $55,000, how much will the insurance policy pay? A. $50,000. B. $53,000. C. $55,000. D. $48,000. Correct answer. B. $53,000. Explanation. The policy will pay the amount of the covered loss minus the deductible up to the coverage limit. Here, the damage is $55,000, but with a $2,000 deductible, the payout would be $55,000. $2,000 equals $53,000. However, since the coverage, a limit is $50,000, the maximum the policy will pay is $50,000. Question 67. In Michigan, what type of coverage under personal auto policy (PAP) would help pay for the repair or replacement of the insured's vehicle if it is damaged by a covered peril other than a collision, such as theft or vandalism? A. Liability coverage. B. Comprehensive coverage. C. Medical payments coverage. D. Collision coverage. Correct answer. B. Comprehensive coverage. Explanation. Comprehensive coverage provides protection for damages to the insured's vehicle caused by perils other than collision, such as theft, vandalism, or natural disasters. Liability coverage is for damages to others. Medical payments coverage covers medical expenses for the insured and passengers, and collision coverage is for damages resulting from a collision. Question 68. Which type of insurance policy would you recommend in Michigan for a homeowner who needs coverage for items like high-value electronics or expensive jewelry that are often not fully covered under a standard homeowner's insurance policy? A. Earthquake endorsement. B. Scheduled personal property endorsement. C. Personal liability endorsement. D. Flood endorsement. Correct answer. B. Scheduled personal property endorsement. Explanation. A scheduled personal property endorsement provides additional coverage for high-value items like electronics or jewelry, which may not be fully covered under a standard homeowner's insurance policy. Earthquake, personal liability, and flood endorsements address different types of coverage needs, but not specifically for high-value items. Question 69. Mr. and Mrs. Williams have a homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan with a $5,000 limit for coverage D. Loss of use. If their home becomes uninhabitable due to a covered event and they incur $6,000 in additional living expenses, how much will their insurance cover? A. $5,000. B. $6,000. C. $1,000. D. $0. Correct answer A. $5,000. Explanation. Coverage D. Loss of use covers additional living expenses up to the policy limit. If the limit is $5,000 and the expenses are $6,000, the policy will cover up to the limit, which is $5,000. The remaining $1,000 would be the responsibility of Mr. and Mrs. Williams. Question 70. In Michigan, if a policyholder's personal auto is involved in an accident with an uninsured motorist and the damage exceeds the policy's coverage limits, which type of coverage would provide additional financial protection? A. Collision coverage. B. Comprehensive coverage. C. Uninsured motorist coverage. D. Medical payments coverage. Correct answer. C. Uninsured motorist coverage. Explanation. Uninsured motorist coverage provides protection when the at-fault driver is uninsured or underinsured and the damages exceed the policy's limits. Collision coverage pays for damage to the insured's vehicle from a collision. Comprehensive coverage covers non-collision related damages, and medical payments coverage covers medical expenses for the insured and passengers. Question 71. Which of the following endorsements would provide coverage for a Michigan homeowner's losses due to damage caused by a sinkhole? A. Flood endorsement. B. Earthquake endorsement. C. Sinkhole endorsement. D. Water damage endorsement. Correct answer. C. Sinkhole endorsement. Explanation. A sinkhole endorsement provides coverage specifically for damage caused by sinkholes. Flood endorsements cover flood-related damages. Earthquake endorsements cover damage from earthquakes, and water damage endorsements generally cover damage from accidental water discharge, but not specifically from sinkholes. Question 72. Mr. Thompson's homeowner's insurance policy in Michigan includes a $10,000 limit for coverage B. Other structures. If Mr. Thompson experiences $12,000 in damages to a detached garage on his property, how much will his policy cover? A. $10,000. B. $12,000. C. $2,000. D. $0. Correct answer A. $10,000. Explanation. Coverage B. Other structures has a specified limit of $10,000. The policy will cover damages up to this limit. Since the damages are $12,000, the policy will cover $10,000, and Mr. Thompson would be responsible for the remaining $2,000. Question 73. In Michigan, if a policyholder wants to insure coverage for valuable items like fine art and collectibles, which type of insurance policy is most appropriate? A. Homeowners insurance policy HO3. B. Dwelling policy DPA 2. C. Scheduled personal property endorsement. D. Personal umbrella policy. Correct answer. C. Scheduled personal property endorsement. Explanation. A scheduled personal property endorsement is specifically designed to cover high-value items like fine art and collectibles, which may not be fully covered under standard homeowners insurance policies. The homeowner's insurance policy HO3 provides general coverage. The dwelling policy DPA 2 is for rental or secondary properties, and the personal umbrella policy offers additional liability protection. Question 74. Which endorsement would you use to add coverage for loss of income due to property damage in a Michigan rental property? A. Loss of use endorsement. B. Fair rental value endorsement. C. Equipment breakdown endorsement. D. Ordinance or law endorsement. Correct answer. B. Fair rental value endorsement. Explanation. A fair rental value endorsement provides coverage for lost rental income due to damage to the rental property. The loss of use endorsement is for additional living expenses for homeowners. Equipment breakdown endorsement covers mechanical failures, and ordinance or law endorsement covers costs to meet building codes. Question 75. If a Michigan homeowner has a homeowner's insurance policy with a $3,000 deductible and the coverage C, personal property, limit is $25,000 and they suffer $27,000 in damages due to a covered loss, how much will the policy cover? A. $22,000. B. $25,000. C. $24,000. D. $27,000. Correct answer A. $22,000. Explanation: the amount covered by the policy is the total damage minus the deductible up to the policy limit. Here, the damage is $27,000, but the deductible is $3,000, so the policy will cover $27,000. 3,000 equals $24,000, but the coverage C limit is $25,000, so the payout is $22,000. Correct answer A. Homeowners insurance policy HO3. Explanation: a homeowners insurance policy HO3 provides coverage for the replacement cost of the primary residence against various perils, including total loss from covered events. The dwelling policy DP1 offers basic coverage and may not cover all perils. Flood insurance policy covers flood-related damages, and personal umbrella policy provides additional liability coverage rather than property replacement. Correct answer A. Homeowners insurance policy HO3. Explanation: a homeowners insurance policy HO3 provides coverage for the replacement cost of the primary residence against various perils, including total loss from covered events. The dwelling policy DP1 offers basic coverage and may not cover all perils. Flood insurance policy covers flood-related damages, and personal umbrella policy provides additional liability coverage rather than property replacement. Question 77. Which of the following is typically covered under a personal umbrella policy in Michigan? A. Damage to the insured's home from a covered peril. B. Liability claims exceeding the limits of underlying policies. C. Medical expenses for injuries sustained in an auto accident. D. Loss of rental income from a rental property. Correct answer B. Liability claims exceeding the limits of underlying policies. Explanation: a personal umbrella policy provides additional liability coverage beyond the limits of existing underlying policies, such as auto or homeowners insurance. It does not cover property damage from covered perils, medical expenses, or loss of rental income, which are covered under different policies or endorsements. Question 78. Mr. Jones' homeowners insurance policy in Michigan includes a $1,500 deductible for coverage D. Loss of use. If his home becomes uninhabitable due to a covered event and he incurs $3,500 in additional living expenses, what amount will his insurance cover? A. $2,000. B. $3,500. C. $1,500. D. $4,000. Correct answer A. $2,000. Explanation: coverage D. Loss of use covers additional living expenses up to the policy limit minus the deductible. Here, the total additional expenses are $3,500 with a $1,500 deductible. Therefore, the coverage will be $3,500. 1,500 all equals $1,000. Question 79. In Michigan, which coverage under homeowners insurance policy HO3 would typically cover damages to other structures on the property, such as a detached garage or tool shed? A. Coverage was dwelling. B. Coverage B. Other structures. C. Coverage C. Personal property. D. Coverage D. Loss of use. Correct answer B. Coverage B. Other structures. Explanation: coverage B. Other structures under homeowners insurance policy HO3 is specifically designed to cover damages to structures on the property that are not attached to the main dwelling, such as a detached garage or tool shed. Coverage A is for the main dwelling, coverage C is for personal property, and coverage D covers loss of use. Question 80. Which type of policy would provide coverage for damage to personal property while it is in transit or temporarily stored away from the insured's home in Michigan? A. Homeowners insurance policy HO3. B. Personal articles floater. C. Flood insurance policy. D. Earthquake insurance policy. Correct answer B. Personal articles floater. Explanation: a personal articles floater provides coverage for valuable personal property while in transit or temporarily stored away from the insured's home. The homeowner's insurance policy HO3 covers personal property primarily within the home, while flood and earthquake insurance policies address specific types of property damage. Question 81. If a policyholder in Michigan has a homeowner's insurance policy with a $10,000 coverage C personal property limit and a $2,500 deductible, and they experience $12,000 in covered damages to their personal property, how much will their insurance company pay? A. $10,000, B. $9,500, C. $12,000, D. $7,500. Correct answer, B. $9,500. Explanation. To determine the payout, subtract the deductible from the total damages up to the policy limit. Here, the total damages are $12,000 minus the $2,500 deductible, which equals $9,500. Since this amount is below the coverage C limit of $10,000, the insurance company will pay $9,500. Question 82. In Michigan, which endorsement would you add to a homeowner's insurance policy to cover damages from mold, fungus, or wet rot? A. Equipment breakdown endorsement. B. Flood endorsement. C. Water backup and sump overflow endorsement. D. Ordinance or law endorsement. Correct answer, C. Water backup and sump overflow endorsement. Explanation. The water backup and sump overflow endorsement provides coverage for damages caused by water backup from sewers or drains and sump pump overflow, which may lead to mold, fungus, or wet rot. The equipment breakdown endorsement covers mechanical failures, the flood endorsement is for flood-related damages, and the ordinance or law endorsement addresses compliance with building codes. Question 83. Which of the following provides coverage for injuries sustained by a guest on a Michigan homeowner's property, regardless of fault? A. Medical payments to others. B. Liability coverage. C. Personal property coverage. D. Loss of use coverage. Correct answer, A. Medical payments to others. Explanation. Medical payments to others covers medical expenses for injuries sustained by guests on the insured's property, regardless of fault. Liability coverage addresses legal responsibility for injuries or damages. Personal property coverage is for the insured's belongings, and loss of use coverage is for additional living expenses when the home is uninhabitable. Question 84. In Michigan, if a policyholder's auto insurance includes a $500 deductible for comprehensive coverage and they experience $1,200 in damages from a vandalism incident, how much will the insurer cover? A. $700, B. $1,200, C. $500, D. $1,000. Correct answer, A. $700. Explanation. Comprehensive coverage pays for damages minus the deductible amount. Here, the total damage is $1,200 with a $500 deductible, so the insurer will cover $1,200. 500 all equals $700. The deductible is subtracted from the total damages. Question 85. In Michigan, which type of endorsement would you use to provide coverage for a personal watercraft, such as a jet ski, under a standard homeowner's insurance policy? A. Personal articles floater. B. Watercraft endorsement. C. Personal liability endorsement. D. Equipment breakdown endorsement. Correct answer, B. Watercraft endorsement. Explanation. A watercraft endorsement provides coverage for personal watercraft like jet skis under a homeowner's insurance policy. The personal articles floater covers high-value personal items. The personal liability endorsement provides additional liability coverage, and the equipment breakdown endorsement covers mechanical failures, not watercraft. Question 86. Which type of policy in Michigan is specifically designed to cover damages caused by earthquakes? A. Dwelling policy DEPA 3. B. Flood insurance policy. C. Earthquake insurance policy. D. Personal umbrella policy. Correct answer, C. Earthquake insurance policy. Explanation. An earthquake insurance policy provides specific coverage for damages resulting from earthquakes. The dwelling policy DPA3 covers various perils, but not earthquakes. Specifically, flood insurance covers flood damage, and personal umbrella policy provides additional liability coverage rather than property damage. Question 87. Mr. and Mrs. Parker's Michigan homeowners insurance policy has a coverage limit of $200,000 with a $1,000 deductible. If their home sustains $220,000 in damages due to a covered peril, how much will their insurance cover? A. $199,000. B. $220,000. C. $200,000. D. $219,000. Correct answer A. $199,000. Explanation: the insurance will cover up to the coverage limit minus the deductible, with damages totaling $220,000 and a $1,000 deductible. The policy will cover $200,000. $1,000 equals $199,000 as it is capped by the coverage, a limit of $200,000. Question 88. In Michigan, if a policyholder's personal auto policy includes an endorsement for roadside assistance, what types of services are typically covered? A. Towing, fuel delivery, and battery jump start. B. Medical payments and rental car expenses. C. Legal defense and liability coverage. D. Property damage to the insured's vehicle. Correct answer A. Towing, fuel delivery, and battery jump start. Explanation: roadside assistance endorsements usually cover services such as towing, fuel delivery, and battery jump starts. Medical payments and rental car expenses are covered under different provisions. Legal defense and liability coverage are part of liability insurance, and property damage is covered under collision or comprehensive coverage. Question 89. Which type of coverage under Michigan homeowners insurance policy HO3 would help pay for repairs to a damaged driveway or fence that is not attached to the home? A. Coverage dwelling. B. Coverage B. Other structures. C. Coverage C. Personal property. D. Coverage D. Loss of use. Correct answer B. Coverage B. Other structures. Explanation: coverage B. Other structures is designed to cover damages to structures on the property that are not attached to the main dwelling, such as a driveway or fence. Coverage A is for the main dwelling, coverage C covers personal property, and coverage D is for additional living expenses if the home is uninhabitable. Question 90. Mr. and Mrs. Green's Michigan homeowners insurance policy has a $15,000 limit for coverage C, personal property, and a $500 deductible. If they experience $18,000 in personal property losses due to a covered event, how much will their insurance cover? A. $17,500. B. $15,000. C. $18,000. D. $17,000. Correct answer A. $17,500. Explanation: the payout is calculated by subtracting the deductible from the total damages up to the policy limit. With $18,000 in damages and a $500 deductible, the insurance will cover $18,000. $500 will equal $17,500, but only up to the coverage C limit of $15,000. Therefore, the insurance will cover the maximum limit of $15,000.